for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the Voice of the People. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those.
Nobody say, man, spirit, can't nobody fuck with me, man. You know, I can't be fucked with, you know.
Dazn Beyonce Productions.
Whether you pay to see me win, or you pay to see me lose, you're gonna pay. Fuck it, your kids still gotta eat. I don't have to watch, you know, any footage of a fighter. I mean, because I'm Floyd Mayweather, everybody gotta watch me. I knew eventually I was gonna have to fight Oscar though. I feel like he was straight up and down, no special effects.
BoxingVoice.com.
How can Canelo have the biggest deal? Your deal is for 300 million, and I made 350 million just in one fight. And you're fighting on the app.
BoxingVoice.com.
I'm a king, okay? I eat a feast. Every time I eat a feast. And when I get up from the table, I don't give a fuck who get the leftovers. At the end of the day, follow my green print.
Dazn Beyonce Productions.
BoxingVoice.com.
Ain't no other sight in the game to see the Boxing Voice.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of the Boxing Voice Radio. I am your host, Nestor Gibbs, joined alongside Mario Munguia, and we're going to be giving you our immediate reaction to Adam Kownacki being dropped, stopped, battered by Robert Helenius in a WBA title eliminator. Robert Helenius drops him, stops him, and shocks us all. So this is what we'll be talking about. You know the number to call in, 1-425-569-5241. Press 1 one time. Voice your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline. Now, don't forget you can add Nestor Gibbs on Skype to be part of the conversation from anywhere in the world. And if you're just joining the live stream, please hit that thumbs up button, as it helps with the visibility of the show and it helps us continue to grow, and it gives us more reason to keep coming back for more every day, multiple times a day. Let's head on out to Corpus Christi, Texas. Mr. Munguia.
It's me, Mario.
What is up? What is up? What is up? Shout out Michael Gross. Listen, if you want to know what my immediate reaction was, you ever seen like the Saturday morning cartoons when it's like that big anvil drops and the cartoon's eyes just bug out its fucking head? Like, that's what it was for me. I could not believe it. Yeah, it was like a tale of like 3 different fights for me. And I'm going to have to watch this again. I'm for sure going to watch it like at least 2 or 3 more times before tomorrow's show, because I think I was duped. I had to have been duped because Adam looked so comfortable in the ring early on. He looked so comfortable and confident. And here's the thing. They were touching each other very early. At one point in the second round, I thought they were both hurt. I thought one of them was hurt and could have pressed on the gas, and then I thought the other one got hurt and could have pressed on the gas. They were kind of going back and forth. But you know, Adam was there to be hit. That's nothing new. But Helenius all he did was he threw 1-2s when he knew that his man was hurt, and he threw those 1-2s and they worked. And you know what's so funny too, Ness, is I have a really good memory of what you said about this fight, and you kind of called it. Now, you sure as shit didn't predict Robert Helenius winning, but the manner in which you said he'd fight and the style in which you said he'd fight and what we could expect from him in a likely losing effort, you were absolutely right, except for the fact that he ended up winning. So, you know, we got a lot to discuss. You know, what's next for Adam? What's next for Helenius? You know, what is this kind of win do for him? But at the end of the day, once again, exciting heavyweight boxing that is putting this division on the map. This is becoming the money division, the most exciting division in all of sports. You know, in my opinion, this is just another great night for heavyweight boxing.
Bro, this division is insane. It just continues to flip-flop over and over. You know, it's forcing boxing fans to learn to appreciate not only the fighter, but to release some of that value that we put on the undefeated record. Everyone, big, little, small, they're losing. If you thought they were at the top, they lost. If you thought they were up and coming, they just lost. I mean, even if we think about a Jogba in his last fight, you know, he was red hot and then he got dropped. Yeah, he suffered adversity, was able to come back and get the knockout. But we're watching these guys one by one, you know, have their own trials and tribulations. And it's quite unfortunate what took place today for Adam Kownacki, as, you know, he had a damn good audience and fan base backing him. But Helenius slid himself right into position. Shocking, because we just seen a guy that knocked out Helenius get knocked out by Charles Martin, and I'm talking Gerald Washington. Last thing we were thinking is a victim of Washington will be the guy to take the undefeated record, put that first blemish on Adam Kownacki's resume. I never would have thought it. Now, we interviewed Helenius. We had him on the show. He told us that the loss to Gerald Washington was more due to training camp. Now, obviously, when you're interviewing someone and they tell you something like this, you know, it goes in one ear and out the other, because every fighter looks for an excuse as to why they lost. But he did say he was training, and he did say he would come in here differently. And for a few rounds, I didn't know if I was going to see anything at all from him. He seemed to be a lot, you know, very wide with his shots. His defense wasn't the best. And he didn't really find a way to stop Adam from coming forward. But it came a point in that fight where he stood his ground and he threw his 1-2s, and him and Adam kept going back and forth to see who was going to be the last man standing. And I think that's when he gained Adam's respect. But, man, I just was not expecting this. It's definitely a rebuild, a restart for Adam Kownacki, because I spoke to Keith Conley right after the Areola fight. They didn't want that. And if you didn't want that, and then a guy like Helenius, who's coming off a loss, stops you, well, you know, they're going all the way back to the beginning. You know what I mean? I'm expecting him to go in there with something like a Samuel Peters at this point.
Yeah, look, and real quick, because I do want to stay on the topic of the main event. I don't want to get too far on the card, but I just real quick want to make the point. This card was amazing. It really showcased the versatility of the heavyweight division. You know, you had the Cuban fighter and the style in which he fought early on in the night. Then you had FA come out and, you know, he fought a different type of fight. And then you had these two guys, these two bulls come out in the main event and fight their fight. And it just showed how versatile showed the versatility of the heavyweight division and how excited we should be. But look, early on in the fight, I really felt like Adam was picking just the right shots. I was still not happy with how not easy he was to be hit. I don't want to say that, but how readily available he was to be hit. I guess I'll put it that way. You know, after the fight, you know, it was, and not even after the fight, but like as towards the fight was ending, it felt like I had watched a different fight in the first few rounds. Not because Adam was so dominant, and not because Helenius was out of the fight. Never at one point was that the case. But I just, you know, you looked at the face of Adam Kownacki. You looked at the way that he was approaching the fight, the way he was picking his shots, the way he was eating punches. Like everything was pointing towards he looked like that guy. He looked like that guy early on in the fight. And here comes Robert Helenius, the bull, doing exactly what, you know, he's built a resume off of doing. I'm not a resume, basically like this is his MO. And he came out and he followed his MO, and Adam was there to be hit. And this shows that in the heavyweight division, this is what separates the heavyweight division from the rest of the divisions, is that anyone can be in control at any time, and things like this can happen. And that's why you can't count Wilder out of his fight. That's why you can't count Joshua out in, you know, a fight with Fury, or Dillian White out against Joshua. Like, you can't count any of these guys out. The more you think you know, the less you are right. when it comes to this heavyweight division. And that's kind of what you were saying, Ness.
Definitely what I was saying. My phrase is fights need to be fought. And this is why. Because you automatically assume that a guy like Adam is going to get the win. But if you don't have that fight and you don't allow it to be fought, you don't see this upset. You don't give Helenius an opportunity to show you that, he could turn it around. This was an eliminator, bro. Like, my man's in position now. I mean, I wonder if they're going to do an immediate rematch because obviously AJ's tied up. He'll be super tied up. And look, I mean, maybe this is an eliminator for the regular title as well, right? So, if you're smart, you try to get a rematch in with Helenius. But did they even have options on him? Like, were they thinking that far? You know what I mean? Is he going to slip away now because he was a B-side? He was not here to win. I mean, you could find him as high as a plus 500 or a plus 1,000 on different betting sites. So, no, man, people could have made some money on him if they would have laid it on him. I mean, I would have never, believed that. But listen, the heavyweight division is just becoming one gigantic revolving door. You never know who's gonna walk through it as a winner or a loser.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And here's the thing, whether they have options or not, I don't think it would be hard to entice him to stay because there are some options there for him, other than a rematch. There are some options there. And the thing is he's not in any sort of position to land any of the big fights. Not because this fight didn't mean anything, not because it's not, well granted momentum, but because, like you said, they're all tied up. So, you're going to have a fight. And it's not going to be the money fight that you want or the big money fight that you want. So, you look down the list and there's Reese and there's, just a few other names that you could possibly get in the ring with. So I don't think it would be hard to keep them around. That said, I do want to bring up real quick one thing that was said. Here's the thing. That fight again, I gotta watch it again because I really felt like I watched 2 or 3 different fights in that small window. But the momentum shift was immediate and it was fast. At one point, Adam seemed in control, and then they were kind of exchanging, and then all of a sudden, the tide just shifted.
Well, no, he dropped.
Tide shifted it. Yeah, he
dropped,
for sure.
and they were confused. People thought it was a slip. And all of a sudden, Joe Goosen says, no, it looks like it could have been a knockdown. And then another knockdown right behind it. And that one was, deadly after that.
Well, after the fight, in the post-fight interview, Robert Helenius was quoted in saying that while there was some confusion on whether or not that first slip/knockdown was indeed a knockdown, he knew that he had hurt him. He knew that he had hurt Adam. He said, and so, in those situations when you don't get the knockdown, it could be really frustrating and it could be really disheartening. It just feels like a missed shot. But when you are not credited or credited, it really doesn't matter. If you hurt the guy and you hurt the guy, it doesn't matter what they're scoring because where the fight is. That it's now the ball's in your court and you can gain control. And so that was one of the things he said. They did bring up in the post-fight the fact that it was a WBA eliminator. They didn't mention a champ. They didn't say Joshua's name. They kind of they said, we all know who that champion is. Although, do you know who that champion is? Because there's like 17 other WBA heavyweight champions. So, he seems humble. He seems very, he gave all credit to Adam. And I love hearing that. I love hearing, the embrace and Adam's going to be fine. I think Adam can bounce back. I think that regardless, he's an exciting guy. And this is what I was talking about, Ness. This is what I was talking about. Moments, the fights where both guys leave with something. Now, obviously, this is a little different because it was a first loss and Adam's going to take it really hard. And I feel for him and I understand where he's coming from. But, this is just an exciting fight. And any casual fans that happen to catch this fight, I think they're going to remember the name Adam Kownacki. And certainly they're going to remember the name Robert Helenius. And they're going to remember these two names together. I don't think they're going to be synonymous with each other or anything like that. But for one brief night, in March 2020. These guys gave us a gift, and I think this gift is going to keep on giving for both of them. I think Helenius takes this and he can shift it into something meaningful, and I think Adam, learns a lesson, comes back, and I fully believe in him, and I fully believe that he has what it takes to make the adjustments. And again, it's like, what adjustments? I have to watch the fight, and maybe I can see some adjustments be made, and obviously don't get hit as much is a big adjustment. But still, I thought he looked really good early on. I did. I thought he was in control of this fight, despite the fact he was getting hit. But it didn't go his way. But he'll be back. I know he will.
Yeah, man. So obviously, we can touch on Joe Goosen letting us all down. I mean, I don't know if he's letting us down because I didn't like that pick for Wilder. Randy Gordon had it made up in his head that it was going to be Goosen for Wilder. Goosen announced Pulev. Very underwhelming announcement, by the way. When he said Pulev, it was just like, what? And then he said he's going to Bulgaria for this shit, too. I'm like, what?
Yeah. He definitely said that. That was crazy. It's so funny because we were texting in the chat during the fight, as we do, and Supermex was literally texting every single thing I was thinking during the lead up, because we knew we were going to get the announcement. We knew they were going to talk to him coming back from the FA fight, during the break after the fight was over. And Joseph said this, and I thought it too. Like, you could just see it in Goosen's eyes. It was like, this is not, I think, what people think. Like, I'm going to kind of let people down. But here's the thing. It shouldn't take away from the announcement. I think that it's a good thing for both guys. I do. We'll see how their styles match up. I haven't really even thought about it in terms of what he could do to help him and things that, Joe's known for and he's done for other fighters. So, I'm sure we'll get to that point. We'll break it all down. But, it doesn't take away from the fact that I think it's a good match for both guys. That said, yeah, it was a little deflating. It was really weird watching that, expecting something and then getting something else, kind of a swerve. But that those are our own misguided and misdirected expectations.
Honestly, after I did the show and I spoke to Randy Gordon, I'm like, damn, it could have been Andy Ruiz. Andy's from LA, the California area. Goosen's from over there. It made sense, and it wasn't even Andy. I mean, Pulev.
No, and I'm so mad that you ended up sending me a voice message. I'm so mad that you even sent me that message, because I didn't even think of Andy Ruiz. Then you put it in my head, and I was literally waiting for him to say Andy Ruiz. And I know that doesn't even make sense, like in reality, for me to have those expectations just because you put it out into the universe, but it just wasn't in my head. And then you put it in my head, and it was kind of like, one of those things where it added to the anticipation. But, we'll see what he can do. Obviously they're going to be behind the 8 ball on this one. They're going to be looking to upset the apple card. Goosen's a very well-established trainer. He's not prototypically old school at all, but I think that he has that old school, he takes that with him. He's got that through the years. Those are the things that developed him as a trainer. Those are the things that developed him in the sport. But he's definitely got his own style that he brings to the sport and that he brings to training fighters. And I've never had the privilege of watching him with a camp, but I have had the privilege of watching media workouts with him, training fighters. And I was trying to think off the top of my head what fight that was where he had a fighter I was covering. But
I don't know,
anyway.
man. Pulev is like 38. And he looks older than he looks and moves older than Luis Ortiz. I don't know. I'll be watching, but like I said, it doesn't really, it's not like
Register.
It's just not something that I'm all overly excited about. It was more of a disappointment, letdown than anything. But let's get out to these callers. You know the number to call in. 1-425-569-5241. Press 1 one time. Voice your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline.
Subscribe to youtube.com/theboxingvoice for the latest and greatest interviews with your favorite fighters.
Remember to rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
All right. We're going out to these phone lines. We're going to New Jersey.
Just like the king is what I mean. The king is what I mean.
Yo, TBV, let me get right to it. What's up, Mario Ness? What's up, bro?
What up?
Yo, I'm gonna use one of Ness' famous terms, yo. Ness, you always throw these famous phrases out there. Top Rank Diet. Yo, shit the bed. What happened was Kownacki shit the bed, yo. He went in there too early trying to, throw bombs. And Helenius been in there with Chisora. He was in there with Washington. I mean, the heavyweight division, you guys said it. Every fighter is one impressive victory away from getting back in contention. So now, to me, Kownacki would be a good test for like a Daniel Dubois. You know what I'm saying? Charles Martin is he threw himself back in the mix, and then where the hell does Dillian White fall in all this, man? Not gonna hold the line, man. I just wanted to call in. It's been a minute, but I love what y'all do. I love this shit. Mario, what's up, man? I'm out, yo.
What up? Good to hear from you, brother.
Cool.
All right, we're going out to Ringer, Josh, North Carolina.
What up, TVV?
What up?
Yes, Mario, what's good with y'all?
What up?
Hey, man, damn, tonight, bro, that was, I'm going to say I'm surprised, but now I look at it, I ain't surprised because, I always thought to myself, Kownacki, he'll come straightforward fighter, you know what I'm saying? I was leaving the head open, but I was always thinking when he gets to fight taller fighters that he would be, vulnerable, and I saw that tonight, but, But, hey, man, I like to say Frank Sanchez, I like how he looked tonight, even though he fought DeVecchio. He looked very fluid. I'm ready, and I didn't know he fought that many amateur fights. I think they need to start moving him a little fast, man. I didn't know he was like that, but, yeah, I like what I saw from him. And that job by, he looking good. He's still slow as hell, but it's whatever. But, hey, yo, loving the show like always. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. I'm out.
Josh, man, thanks for calling in. We're going out to Ringer. Rel, talk to us. Detroit.
Ness, I can't believe he blew that shit. Man, I ain't even see the fight. I'm just so disappointed in Adam, man. Last time we talked about this, I said he couldn't win by decision, and he go and get knocked out, man. How did it happen? Was it a cold knockout or a TKO?
TKO, barrage of punches, man. He hurt him. It's the heavyweight division, champ.
The referee stepped in.
I hope Adam can bounce back from it. I'm going to have to go back and watch the highlights. But I want to give a shout-out to Clinton, the native kid, Chavez. He 4-0. He just got a TKO stop in the first round. And I was at the fight supporting him tonight. So congratulations to him. And it's TBV for life. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Rel.
All right.
Yeah, man. These fights are just, anything can happen. That's why, the Joshua Pulev fight, I'm going to be watching, and I'm going to have my opinion who's going to win. But I'm going to be ready for anything because at this point, you have to be.
Yeah, man, I don't even want to believe that's going to happen, man. I mean, it's like, come on, Joshua got to take care of business. Troy, you haven't pressed 1. That's why we haven't gone to you. We're going out to Seattle, Washington.
Mr. PBC, baby.
BoxingVoice.com.
I'm the flyest. Canelo talking about he believe he can win. Go to my kitchen, get the sharpest knife, and cut the bullshit out. I don't care what you do good. I do every fucking thing great.
Mr. PBC, baby.
Yo, what's good, Ness and Mario? Man, the heavyweight division stirring up. Like, we're bringing that shit back like cook crack. Robert Helenius, he came through. I mean, I kind of knew he was going to do something because, Adam likes to take those punches. He likes that shit. He thinks he's Leatherface, but, Robert came through, man. Shout out to Robert. Helenius getting it in. Putting them hands on that boy. I just can't wait to see who's next for Robert. That's my call.
If you don't remember, back like in the HBO days, like way before, like still in the Klitschko era, Robert Helenius, as he was coming up, I mean, there were so many people that thought he had the goods. There were a lot of people that were picking him to upset Klitschko when he got to that point. And so, people got to remember he did have a pedigree. So, and when I say people, I mean me, because I forgot.
Because I don't remember that, but I probably wasn't.
They did. There a lot of people were high on him.
Troy, Baltimore.
But you know what? I'm not surprised. Adam fights in one direction and he squares up. He doesn't come on an angle or anything. He just squares up. His tactic is I'll take a few of your punches to land a few of mine, and whoever's left standing, that's who's gonna win. That's how he fights all his fights. So I'm not impressed. This is the first time I can remember, man, at least for me, that this country has no heavyweights. They don't have any coming up. They don't have any, as far as I see, don't have a champion, don't have anything. Nothing to really talk about. That's the first time I can remember that happening. But that's what happens when nobody wants to learn the fundamentals. Everybody's a puncher, and they have no fundamentals, Well, Adam I could see coming back. I could see him coming back because he seems like the type that likes to listen. But all right, that's it. That's all I got.
I like the way he put that. Like he seems like the type that likes to listen. That I can rock with that. That makes sense.
Yeah. Troy's a fucking hater.
Mr. Info Joe.
This portion of the show we call In the
Mr.
Know,
Info Joe.
presented by my brother.
Yo, what up, my boxing brothers?
What up?
What up?
Hey, man, this is be the season. Man, upset season, man. It's a new flu out here. It's called upset season, man. And it's bad when he had a sold out crowd, man. It's something about having a fight in your hometown, man. I looked at this card as a heavyweight tournament, man, and I liked it actually. I looked at Sanchez, man. He moved around like a heavyweight Laura. I don't know if I'm tripping right now, but that's what I was seeing. But shout out to Helenius, man. The dude look like he's straight out of Game of Thrones, right? Like a true Viking, right? But he did a great job tonight. Adam bounced back, but I would like to see, man, Helenius versus Fa, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what it looked like to me. This card looked like a heavyweight tournament. But that's all I got. TBB for life, like my man Stalin always say. Peace, gentlemen.
See, Joe is remembering the days at HBO and Showtime, and basically anybody who was smart at promoting when you'd put these guys on the card to set up fights, and that's what they should do, and that's what we hope they start doing more and more.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a great card. Well, I can't use the word great, but I
It
guess
was solid.
I guess I do because it was like a page out of an Eddie Hearn book. It's 3 heavyweight fights. It helps the division when you stack up a card based on one division. It gives, I guess, the fight fan more of a visual of what's to come and what is. We just had another caller from Long Island dropped off. We're going to go one last time. If anybody's out there, you know the number to call in, 14255-695241. Press 1 one time. Voice your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline. Don't forget you could also add Nestor Gibbs on Skype. Final thoughts, man. Fucking Adam, man. He's a friend of the show. Sucks that he had to lose. I'm with Troy. He could bounce back, not for the reasons that Troy believes. I just believe anybody is capable of bouncing back. If anything, 2019 and 20 are showing us that one loss, doesn't define a fighter. I mean, everyone on the top is already lost other than Tyson Fury, and now we're having guys in the middle losing their O's as well, man. So it's heavyweight division very interesting.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Adam. I've always liked him. He's always, like you said, he's been good to the show. I still remember when he first came on, and he's a good kid, and I hate to see that from him. So I hope this doesn't sound biased, or I hope that I'm not wrong because I'm hoping too much, but I don't know. I don't think that this is going to hold him back much. I mean, it's going to be tough to get over, and of course we can't know what it's going to do to him mentally. But my final thoughts are that a lot of the things that went wrong for him tonight, or a lot of the things that led up to what went wrong, they're totally fixable things. They're things that most trainers can help him with. And I don't know if the issue with him tonight was style or approach. I don't know if it was game plan. But he was very willing to get hit. And I forgot who said he's taken two to give one. And that's only going to work for so long. And so, but at the same time, he's shown other skill. That's the thing, is you can't put him in a box and say he's only shown this thing. No, he's shown some really, really high level boxing, and people can't forget that about him. But overall, the card was great. I love the fact that every heavyweight fight was different. It showcased something different in boxing, and specifically the heavyweight division. It showed the versatility. The heavyweight division at this point has something for everyone, and tomorrow we'll break down, more of the undercard fights. I have a lot to talk about with Sanchez and the Cuban style that he brought, and I know we had talked a lot about it heading into it, but ultimately it was a solid card, very solid. I had fun watching every single fight, and every fight was different, and no matter who won or lost tonight, we as fans definitely won. And with this heavyweight division, we're only going to continue to win.
Troy on the boomerang.
Yes, sir. Can't be a hater if it's the truth, man. It's not hate if it's the truth. We just don't. The country just doesn't have any heavyweights at the moment. You can't count Big Baby because he's never done a damn thing. Nothing. There's nothing that he's ever done. He is a never was. He's not even a has been. He's a never was. He never will be anything. I don't know any other top American heavyweights out there currently, unless you can name some for me. Can you name any? Hello?
Joe Louis.
Yeah, him. Oh, you know what I want to ask you? When you were talking to Buddy and he brought up Jack Blackburn, and did you know who that was? And Georgie Benton, you pretty much knew who that was because I mentioned him. But did you know yeah. Did you know who that was?
Who the fuck is that guy?
Okay,
I knew who it was. I mean, I didn't know much about him, but I of course, following the sport as long as we have, of course, you're gonna have heard the name Jack Blackburn.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, that's it. I was just
Cut it.
He needs better time management. Yeah, man. Nest GTO, Instagram and Twitter.
At Mario Munguia, Twitter, at Mario Munguia, Instagram. Chop it up with me. Peace.
Peace.